Prophet, that, O Prophet, invite them to yourself so that you can raise them from the dead. Tell them to come to you so that you raise them from the dead. So this phrase absolutely explains the spiritual jargon or terminology, that when it is said that the dead are raised, it is not meant that physically dead are raised. It's meaningless anyway.
But you believe that physically it can be raised by God?
Can be raised if God says so.
Okay.
But if there is a purpose and there is wisdom in that. If there is no purpose, no wisdom, then God doesn't do stupid things. But He can. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hazur, next questioner is Mr. Arjan Singh Jagdev, who is the ex-president of Southwest Gurdwara, Tooting. Mr.
Yes.
Arjan Singh.
Our old friend. Why don't you say that? Almost
Yes,
like brother.
Yes. Your Excellency, my most respectful greetings to you. My question today, first of all, I must appreciate and really agree with you that all religions, the one thing you had told to our friend who has come from Sierra Leone, that if we start traveling towards godliness, there will be no problem.
That's right.
No, but here mostly we discuss the historical things, what happened and what not. But that was the crux of the matter, which I think. Now, my question is that we believe in reincarnation and the settlement of our good or bad deeds immediately after death. And I believe that Islam and Christianity, they believe in doomsday. Could you please tell me when was the last doomsday and when is going to be the next doomsday, and during that time how many souls would there be to be accounted for? And I think millions are born every day and millions die. That's my question.
Thank you very much. Now I'll turn to both the questions. The question which is addressed to me and was almost phrased and not completed. What happens to the soul, so the souls which return to the earth in other forms? That is the question I mean. I'll answer both the said question and the unsaid question. Now, as far as the last doomsday is concerned, the doomsday should be understood in the light of religious terminology. According to the religious terminology, everything which is created by God returns to Him. In the sense then that the age of the universe is not eternal. Whatever is created, even if it is lifeless, it will ultimately die or disintegrate into nothingness. And then a new cycle begins. So the last doomsday, I can guess, should have occurred somewhere around 20 billion years ago, before the Big Bang, when all the universe was wrapped into a sort of existence which the scientists cannot fully understand, only their mathematical concepts as to what might have happened. You see, the whole universe is expanding now. And the expanding universe has begun to squeeze in portions here and there, so that hundreds and some say thousands of black holes are already created at smaller scales. A black hole means the one which absorbs all forms of energy and so powerfully attracts them through the exaggerated force of gravity. I mean, I'm not going to go into detail how it happens, but imagine the gravitational force is multiplied by 1,000,000. How powerful it will become. It can attract the sun in a matter of inches and make it disappear into a hole which is not visible, which doesn't occupy any space. So that is what we are talking about. According to the Quran, He created universe and He would make the universe wrapped up and dissolve into nothingness until everything will disappear, and then He will recreate it. So the doomsday we are talking about in physical terms would be the end of the universe, which will be re-wrapped into a form which is not correctly conceivable by the scientists, but mathematical projections can create an image that this might have happened. But there are other possibilities that scientists themselves agree. They say there is also a likelihood of universe sinking into the black hole from the dimensions we know here on Earth into some other dimensions, so that the death of universe is the creation of another in different dimensions. And when that universe ultimately ripens there, reaches its designed end, then it is again squeezed into nothingness and a new universe is born on our side of the dimensions. It's very difficult to understand for people who do not know what dimensions are, what are the mathematical possibilities. But I'm not talking of layman's dreams, I'm talking of scientists' verdict, the possibilities. So, doomsday, if you must have an explanation of doomsday in physical terms, would be the time when the universe would reach that ultimate limit where it must be drawn back into nothingness from where it erupted. Now, about the word day, it is very important to understand the term day. If you are talking of 24 hours day, then your question is very valid. In fact, it is unanswerable by any believer in the doomsday as we believe. But the day is explained in the Holy Quran as a term which may be applicable even to 18 billion years. The day of God is different from the day of human beings as they count. And the Holy Quran gives examples. I have calculated them to work it up to the age of the universe. And you'll be surprised to learn, if you go through that mathematical calculations, that nothing is concocted. It's all based on the Quranic statement and the scientific understanding of the universe's age, etc. My working was around 18 billion and some 100,000 years as the age of the universe according to the Quran. The scientists say it is between 15 billion and 20 billion. So there is no way yet for them to determine exactly whether it is closer to 15 or closer to 20. But the way I worked it out, it happened to be 18 billion some. So if that be the age of the universe, we should expect at the end of this period some doomsday. And some doomsday must have taken place before, because the Holy Quran says this is a process which is ongoing process, unending process. We have been doing this before and we will do it again. So you are quite right to understand that this is not just one doomsday. There must have been previous doomsdays and there must come other doomsday. And this is a constant ongoing process. But another thing, doomsday is, as I have said, is not just one short day of 24 hours, but it may be a process which is extended into 1,000,000 years or 1,000,000,000 years according to God, in which people are reckoned as they appear before Him. But not immediately as they return. They go through a process of change, a process of transformation of their souls, to a point where a soul is born out of the soul which we know as rare as compared to our body.